Hello again, everyone. My name is Soyboy Beta Cuck 69, and this here is my associate, Shadowman0050. And we are also known as the Eskimo Brothers. Today, our review is about the 2007 film There Will Be Blood. So thank you for joining us for episode 19. This was my pick. It's a film that I've seen. This was the fourth time I've seen it. It's considered to be one of the best films of the century. So yeah, let's get started. I would say just a short little plot, a little story about the film. So it stars Daniel Day-Lewis, who is also considered as one of the best actors of the century. So he is a man. The film starts in the late 1800s. He's a silver miner in, I want to say, Nevada, Southern California, somewhere in the American Southwest. So he's mining for silver, and he has an accident. He breaks his leg, and during this whole mining thing, he finds oil, and he doesn't find a lot. He just finds a little bit, but that kind of gets him, gets his mind going. Like, oh, this is maybe this is a little better and a little easier than finding the silver that I've been looking for. So a couple of years go by, his leg heals. He ends up doing more things with oil. He has a son along the way, and him and his son eventually go from town to town trying to buy up land, buy up property to drill for oil. So pretty much this whole film is about Daniel Day-Lewis's character, who plays Daniel Plainview, is his name. He's pretty harsh. He's questionable morals, you could say. It's not really questionable. poor morals at times. But I'd say he's like a sneaky businessman who is just trying to just gather up as much wealth and everything that he can. And throughout this whole journey, it has its ups and its downs, and he learns ultimately in the end what he should have done. He should have paid more attention to other things, but instead he stayed focused on just gathering and getting this wealth and all this property. But it's a long film, between 2.5 and 3 hours, and it does have its slow spots, but it's not that action-packed type of film like the title may suggest that Shadowman brought up. He had to wait for the blood, but it was there. Overall, I thought it was a really great movie. Shadowman, what did you think about it?
Yeah, this is my first time seeing it. I knew nothing about it, so I didn't know what to expect, other than a little blood. Just based on the title, I expected maybe a Western with some bloodshed, which wasn't exactly what it was. It was long, but even in its length, I could sense that, yes, we've been watching this a while, but I wanted to keep seeing more.
The first thing that I noticed is with the beginning scenes is the score of the film, the sound. The music is very kind of like menacing and almost like foreshadowing. I mean, the title is There Will Be Blood, but it's foreshadowing. It just seems like something like evil, malevolent, something that's just not good.
I really like the lighting in the beginning, like when he's in the mines.
Yeah.
And between him being in the mines and then he'd come up from out of the mines, like the way it's lit was, I thought, very well done.
Oh yeah, Yeah, and the lighting was nice. The scenery was beautiful. Not sure where exactly it was filmed, but if I was to guess, it would be the American Southwest.
Yeah, I noted. There was certain when you were getting the cameras and stuff. Part of the credits I saw, it was thank you to the following people, and it was the people of so and so. It was a lot of Texas and California. I noticed.
Yeah, I'd say definitely like West Texas is definitely what it looked like. One thing that both of us kind of agreed on, or we both had in our notes, was for the first probably 15 minutes, there's not any dialogue.
Yeah.
It's just all, just straight up like visual acting. Like you have to pay attention, figure things out. There's no one telling you, there's no narration, no one telling you what to think or anything. You just have to pay attention and look at it and see like, all right, this is what's going on. And the main character, Daniel Plainview, he's a miner. All right, I understand that. Okay, he found
he didn't look that young.
oil. He did not look that young.
He's not a minor. He's an adult.
He is a silver ore miner. We'll go with that. And but yes, he was an adult miner.
Oh, what? That's not a thing.
So you see, without anyone saying anything, you see what he's doing and how he discovers the oil and kind of like the thought process and his and getting his having his son and everything. And so it's it's like I really liked it because it's different. In that.
I don't know who the director was, but they knew how to tell the story without dialogue.
I think it was Paul Thomas Anderson was the director, but yeah, that was really good direction.
Yeah, that was good, very good at the beginning there. He did it well.
Yeah, so
that's something you could really screw up if you don't do it right.
Yeah,
that's kind of an ambitious thing.
Yeah, nonverbal acting. Yeah. But we have Daniel Day-Lewis, the best of the best.
I feel like most people probably would have done that, but would have had a narration. Like, I would have had the actor go in and overdub something, like what the actor was thinking.
Yeah,
that sort of thing.
For sure. Oh, yeah.
Character, not actor.
Yeah. So yeah, I like that because it was a little different and it made you pay attention and made you watch the film, so you knew what was going on, and it was important too. This film, it is kind of slow moving. There's not a whole lot of like crazy intense scenes, but the acting and the dialogue and just like the visual effects kind of keep you interested.
Yeah. The acting and dialogue are definitely the highlights. There's a very interesting dynamic between business and religion that kind of goes back and forth. It's very good.
Oh yeah.
Very well done.
Yeah, you have Daniel Day-Lewis is the main character, but opposite him is a man by the name of Paul Dano, and let's see, he was in Little Miss Sunshine. He's in There Will Be Blood. He's supposed to play the Riddler in the upcoming film The Batman. He, just like Daniel Day-Lewis, he started out on Broadway. Amazing actor. So with him and Daniel Day-Lewis, pretty much every scene that those two are in is amazing. Like you can't take your eyes off of it.
And there's always an underlying tension between the two.
Yeah, you can sense. It's not like, when Shadow Man and I come into a room, everything's, smooth and nice and fun. But it's like when those two are in the room together, you can sense, like, they might be kind of talking, semi-politely for part of the time, but you can always tell that there's something that, they're competing. Yeah, these two kind of butt heads and are.
It reminds me almost of Django Unchained, where they're being nice to each other, but the language,
Yes.
there's like a competition going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is actually, yeah, pretty close to what was going on.
Yeah.
There's yeah, so Paul Dano's character is like the local, the village or small town, I guess pastor, yeah. He's in charge of the church, and whew, yeah, this he's an interesting guy. And he's a younger pastor, but he has a certain way of interacting with his congregation, and it's exciting to watch. So you have multiple scenes where he is in his church, giving a sermon, and then Daniel Day-Lewis's character is in there as well, and you can just see the wild. It's just so beautiful between those two, and it seems like every single time those two are together, there's some sort of I don't know, like, I guess pissing contest, you could kind of say.
Yeah, they're
like
peeing races.
Yeah. Yeah, they're trying to see who
It's competition for power.
Yeah, who has the upper hand.
Yeah.
And they're both seemingly pretty intelligent and maybe manipulative or something along those lines. But each one, one scene, one character gets the best of the other character, and then later on scene, something else happens, and it just keeps, escalating. And it's kind of similar to The Prestige.
Yeah.
Between the
Yes.
two magicians.
Absolutely.
Like, one thinks like, all right, I got this guy for sure.
Yeah.
And then later on, the other magician like tricks them, and then, so they just keep going back and forth. And that's kind of like what was going on in this film.
Yeah.
So you have multiple scenes when they're in the church, and then the final scene is most people's favorite, in the bowling alley, where you have these two, and just hashing things out, like talking and catching up after many years and figuring out life and trying to help each other out or something along those lines. But it was really nice. And in that final scene, like throughout this whole thing, you see Daniel Day-Lewis's character. He's trying to be the best and have the most money and have all these possessions. And you can see like towards the end, like he falls into, you could probably say, they don't say it, but like alcoholism, and it seems like a depression or something like that. Like he spent his whole life going after all these objects, and then at the end he's all alone.
He's still not happy.
Yeah, he's left with nothing. He's got this beautiful house, but that's what he has. He doesn't really have a family. He doesn't have loved ones. He doesn't have like this prospects, like a career, something to look forward to. He's just kind of just there in the moment, and you can see like it looks like he's just a broken, defeated man. And then that last scene, things kind of switch up. Like, it kind of changes the pace, and so it's a thing of beauty, I would say. Exactly.
My one nitpick I'd have to say is that when the movie, it takes place over a few different periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
It'll say the year when it changes time. In that last part, Daniel Day-Lewis he acts old, but his look doesn't really change a whole lot.
It doesn't.
I feel like they should have given him some gray hair or something.
Yeah.
But towards the end he does, he picks up the glass and he shakes a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about it as far as his acting is being old.
Yeah.
Other than that, he's not really different.
Yeah, that's true. Shadow Man's referring to like the last scene. It takes place in 1927. So
and we first see him at like, what is it, 1898 or something like that?
1898, yeah. And so you find him. He's in his home, and he looks like drunk and passed out. and then it looks like he's struggling to stand up, but then he starts kind of like dancing around, and so that is kind of strange.
So he, the acting, he does act older, but he looks the same. And other characters in the movie, he clearly have aged.
Yeah. Yes. That is very true.
Yeah. His son that was a child the whole time now is a man, but he looks the same.
Yeah.
That's my only gripe with the movie.
Yeah.
And that's just the minor thing.
What do you mean by minor?
I mean, his child. It was like 10.
Oh, okay.
Then he's a man. Yet he doesn't change.
That's true. Yeah, I guess another quick thing I will add is that the attire and just the looks of the people, you're like, yeah, I'd say that's probably like 1900s, like early 1900s for sure. Like, it's, just, what they wear, like the clothing, the dresses of the kids, the girls and the women, and just the way the men dress up, and just always seem to be, in nice kind of like suits, good clothing.
Yeah.
Their hair like with a pomade, like a certain way, just slicked back. Shadow Man mentioned all the mustaches, which there was a lot of mustaches. So if you're one of those like mustache fans, check it out. It's 3 hours of mustaches. Can't go wrong.
Alright.
Yeah, so as a whole, I recommend it. I enjoyed it, but again, it is long. Still, go watch it.
I liked it.
So,
So what's next?
episode 20 will be the competitor to this film, There Will Be Blood. This also came out in 2007. This also was, nominated for Best Picture, and it is the film No Country for Old Men. You have Javier Bardem, which I'd say this is definitely his best role, at least that I've seen him in.
I've never seen it.
And then you have Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh. Okay.
So, yeah, that's pretty good. But
Awesome. Two-Face.
Yeah, so it's definitely a great film, and I chose this one along with There Will Be Blood because Shadow Man has seen neither of them, and they're both, people think they're, some of the greatest films of the century. So, on that note, we will be seeing you guys next time, hopefully, maybe, possibly. Soy Boy Beta Cuck 69 is out of here. Thanks again, guys. Farewell.
See ya.